Welcome to Study with the Best, the magazine show about Cuny. I'm Tina Beth Pena. On today's show, we're going to be talking about transitions. For instance, what's it like to become a father or move back to New York after a successful career in Hollywood? That's coming up next and a whole lot more. But first up, he grew up in comic book stores and was able to turn his passion into profession. Let's go in headfirst to the world of superheroes and graphic novels.
In the last 10 years, there's been sort of a rapid embrace of comic culture and comic books and graphic novels. I think these things have moved very quickly to the center of the culture. The marketplace is much deeper and much wider. I am Jonathan Gray. I am an assistant professor of English at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. I get to teach a class, a very popular class, on graphic novels. Graphic novels are a medium, and inside that medium, you can tell many different kinds of stories. There are certainly some stories that are for kids, but much of it is not, and we should treat that work with the seriousness that it deserves. Something like, Mouse, Joe Sacco's Palestine, the Hernandez brothers, Love and Rockets, Kyle Baker's Nat Turner. These are serious attempts to grapple with important historical issues. They are engaging in a sophisticated kind of storytelling. My class opens with superhero comics, in part because in 1986, 86 is a watershed year for comics, and the three things that make it a watershed year are Mouse, but also Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns. I can't do the class justice without at least touching on these, culturally incredibly important comics, and two of them happen to be superhero comics. Then when we start getting into Chris Ware and Charles Burns, people who are more obscure to a mainstream audience, they've sort of already been taught how to properly, sort of take apart a comic through the sort of comfort of the superhero comics. These are billion-dollar archetypes, right? And so we should begin to understand why they have such a hold on our culture. Comic-Con is sometimes called nerd prom. What it really is it's that things that were marginal or were perceived as marginal 15 years ago are now at the center of American culture and global culture. If you know obscure facts about the New York Yankees, then you're great. You're a fan of the Yankees and you know obscure facts, and that's somehow completely fine. But if you know obscure facts about Wolverine, what's wrong with you, right? And so Comic-Con has blown up as people have learned that, well, you know what? This is a multi-billion-dollar industry across many, many different platforms, and so now it's getting, mass media attention, it's getting critical attention in the academy. You have cutting-edge, avant-garde, wonderful and wonderfully creative work, and then you have mass, crass work. As an academic, I'm never going to say, oh, this Avengers movie is amazing, you should watch it, right? But I would say Persepolis, the graphic novel, and Persepolis, the Academy Award nominated film, are both worthy of intellectual scrutiny. I was lucky to sort of come along at a time when mainstream comics were sort of reaching a height of quality. I was lucky enough to, pick up Watchmen as individual issues as it was coming out. I was reading Frank Miller's Daredevil, I was reading Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, and these are some of the highest praised comics of all time. I think what's happening now is that there's a tremendous amount of diversity. Chris Ware, for example, who people compare to James Joyce, he just released a new collection of stories, and it's incredible, right? He's being reviewed in the New York Times Book Review. There's also like 3 new Avengers comic books out there on the market now to take advantage of the fact that this movie has sort of created an audience for the Avengers that maybe wasn't there before. I treat comics the same way. Some of them are obscure and they're great. Some of them are more popular and also great, right? And so, there's something of value, there's some critical value to all of it.
I'm Andrew Falzone. Any parent can tell you that raising kids can have its challenges, especially if you don't have the education you need to get the job you want. A new program at Guardia Community College is helping young fathers connect with jobs and educational opportunities, but most importantly, it's helping them connect with their kids.
They come because they want to change, and they come eager. If you ask every guy here, what are you here for? The number one question is, I'm here for my kids.
As coordinator of the Cuny Fatherhood Academy, Raheem Brooks' job is to take men as young as 18 years old and help mold them into better fathers. Brooks has been with the Academy since it began in the fall of 2012. He spent almost 7 years at a similar program in Harlem before coming to Cuny. The new program is a result of the Young Men's Initiative started by Mayor Michael Bloomberg, seen here with the first graduating class. It was funded with $3 million worth of public and private money. The 3-day-a-week classes provide GED prep in the morning and parenting classes in the afternoon, all with the goal of trying to get its young fathers more involved in the lives of their children. How do they differ from your average community college student?
Many of them did not graduate from high school. Many of them do not live with their children. The perception is that these fathers are deadbeat. In reality, they are just dead broke, and they don't have a job, they don't have the means able to support their kids.
Ramel Evans is 22 years old and one of the fathers in the program. He had his first child at age 15.
One day, she just said her stomach was hurting. So, in my head, I'm like, I think you're pregnant. So we went down to get a pregnancy test and she was pregnant.
What was going through your mind at that point?
I'm gonna be a father.
The program enrolls approximately 40 fathers each semester, but the Academy gets more applicants than it has seats, and so entry is fairly competitive. According to Brooks, most of the applicants left school in 10th or 11th grade, so returning to the classroom for 5 months is a major adjustment. Many in the program are working jobs that pay minimum wage while trying to be a part of their children's lives, caught in between being parents themselves and still relying on their own parents.
When they're with their kids and with their families, they have the responsibilities of men. So yeah, you see that every day. Just one guy. My mother still buys my clothing for me, but at the same time, he's responsible to buy Pampers for his child. So it's quite an interesting dichotomy there. It's incredible.
And nowhere was that dichotomy more apparent than at a parenting class that we visited. A rather lighthearted mood at the beginning of class gave way to a mature and even somber atmosphere as each father read a letter he wrote to his child.
Even though I dropped out of high school, I'm trying my best to give you the life I never had.
When we first found out about you, we were scared and happy at the same time. I know it hasn't been perfect and the struggle's been rough, but me and Mommy try our best to keep the smile on your face no matter what.
As I'm behind in a lot of things, it's my job to make things right. I just got to say that I love you, and even though you're too young to understand everything that's going on right now, just know I'm always going to be here for you.
Brooks hopes the letters written in class will help motivate the fathers to complete the program, and it was at that class where we first met Ramel Evans.
Dear Imani, I know you're wondering why I'm writing you this letter. I just want you to know why I'm so tough on you. The reason for that is because...
And when we had the opportunity to visit his girls at their apartment in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn, we learned that motivation had never been so cute.
What's your name?
Cassie Sterling.
Look into the camera. And how old are you?
3.
Or so shy.
Why are you looking at me? You scared? You don't know what to say?
When you see them at this age, Ramel, does it remind you of you when you were that age?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So my mom said I was a crybaby.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what much I cried for. Maybe because I wasn't getting my way a lot. 2 favorite girls. Well, 2 of my favorite girls.
Carrying on.
Ooh, see the park?
In addition to working on his GED, Ramel says the program has helped him become more involved with Imani, his own daughter, and Cassidy, his stepdaughter. He considers both girls to be his own.
Well, for me, I don't feel like it was a mistake. It was more like a gift and a curse. Being that I was young, I had a child at a young age, was pretty much, she was a gift, and the curse was me, well, in trouble. With me hearing about her, about to be born, I just slowed down from a lot.
Instead of hanging out on the corner, Ramel now finds himself hanging out in the park, supervising after-school playtime sessions. As the sun sets on Ramel's time in the Cuny Fatherhood Academy, he hopes to have his GED and a job, and he's already learned something about parenting.
You had fun at the park? You had fun at the park? All right.
That goes beyond the classroom.
At the end of the day, the most important thing with children is spending time with them.
For Study with the Best, I'm Andrew Falzone.
But remember home.
Creating business leaders is a CUNY goal. For instance, Baruch College has a small but dedicated master's program in financial engineering, so dedicated, in fact, that it's winning international awards.
Juan Pablo Alonso designs award-winning automated trading robots, and if you ever wondered how robots got so smart, here's how.
Automated trading is just designing a set of rules for the computer to buy or sell based on economic indicators. The computer makes the decisions based on whatever you design it to do. For one thing, computers don't have any emotions, and they don't make mistakes. If they have a defined set of rules of when they should buy, when they should sell, they will do it. A well-designed system is going to do it faster and more accurately than any human could.
Baruch College's Quant Lab, which is part of the Financial Engineering Master's Program, is the place where the robot brains get put together.
The Quant Lab is kind of our place, where we all get together and we study, we discuss, we work on projects. You come to the Quant Lab and there's always somebody else from the program that you can, ask questions or just compare answers. It's just great having a very friendly environment.
Juan Pablo's expertise with automated trading, honed in the Quant Lab, took him far in the 2012 Automated Trading Championships.
The competition actually started before September. You had to design a robot between July and September, write the code, make all the testing, get everything ready. You send the robot in September, and the robot ran without human interaction from October to the end of December. You could see the profit in real time, up and down. There were, I believe, 400 or so participants. I actually came in second place on the 2012 competition, just ended last December. It was interesting to watch it progress over time from October to December. There was a lot of stress, just watching the price, not being able to do anything about it. You might want to change the decision, you might want to sell when the robot is buying, but there's nothing you can do. It's once you send it, it's permanent.
Competitions are one thing, but can trading robots function on the world stock exchanges?
Automated trading is actually slowly making the markets more efficient. It should reduce the fear and the greed again that humans have. There is a much higher relative percentage of people from a science background, financial engineering, mathematics, computer science, that are taking the same jobs that I used to be 10 years ago for regular finance, economics degrees. It's just going to be a transition from being a trader to being a programmer of trading robots.
You ever see an actor on TV and say, hey, I know that guy? Well, producer Barry Mitchell did, and he took the number 4 train to the Bronx to meet a CUNY grad who's equally at home on stage, on screen, and in nightclubs.
Hi, this is Hiram Kasten. What a thrill for me to be back at my alma mater, Lehman College, in this beautiful new theater department. It is such a thrill for me to be able to, yes.
You look familiar. Do I know you from somewhere?
Oh, maybe you recognize me from my numerous appearances on TV.
Yes, your honey boo was dad.
You know Hiram Kasten.
I recognize that guy.
Oh, maybe you don't know his name, but you've seen him on 3 episodes of Seinfeld.
Hey, Elaine, listen, if you smell anything decaying in the trunk of his car...
Okay, look, this is my boyfriend we're talking about, okay? And
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, the best actress I ever stood across from on a TV set.
Shut
and countless other shows.
Point me in the right direction.
All right, how about this one?
We lived under the L on Clark Place, near 169th Street.
The next stop is Bedford Park Boulevard, Lincoln College.
As a comedian, as an actor, I've traveled all over the world. I got into work on the Las Vegas stage, sound stages in Hollywood. Today, I get to come back to my alma mater to talk to future actors here at the theater department.
Please join me in welcoming back to Lehman College's theater program, Hiram Kasten.
In 4th grade, substitute came in. She said, take out one piece of paper and a pen, write down what you want to be when you grow up. And she said, don't write astronaut or actor. The thought with actor, of course, is, oh, everybody wants to be an actor, but you're not going to do it. So it was the first of many no's that I didn't hear. I went to Lehman. I get to college, none of this, what am I going to major in? I knew exactly what I was going to major in. I did at least 20 to 25 plays here. Directed, was the youngest kid ever to direct a play. Everything I needed, I learned here. And I got out, I bought Backstage, the newspaper. I auditioned for a play downtown called Line by Israel Horovitz at the 13th Street Theater. And that play is still running today, 35 years later, because they don't pay the actors anything. So it's still running. But when I got on that number 4 at night to go back to Kingsbridge, where by then I was living, I felt, I'm an actor. I'm doing it.
No, I am married 17 years, and it feels just like 17 minutes. Underwater. That's pretty rough.
The break for me is stand-up comedy. And that was a very good thing for an actor because actors don't get a chance to be on stage a lot. They wait for the next play. But each week, I was on stage every night.
One thing about LA I will say is, though, you have to look good to live there, or they throw you out. I got a homeless guy on my street. Homeless guy, he's got one tooth in his mouth. He whitened it. Okay?
So when I went out to California, the sitcoms are basically, they want you to be a self-starter. The Raymond one. I'm cast because I look and sound like a guy that could be a cruise director.
And sir, may I recommend the Deck by Moonlight? You and your lady might enjoy the gorgeous panoramic
lady.
view.
This is not my lady, okay? This is my mother.
Oh, sure. Mother. Done.
Larry, sorry. Can I have one, please? Larry. Come here. You don't know me. Dave Levin, huh? I'm brother-in-law. Listen, what you did is a very gutsy thing, okay?
Sitcom, that is acting like theater is acting, but it's a lightness like a souffle. I mean, it's just one heavy step would break the souffle. So to be funny, you have to have timing. You have to hit the line that the joke is. So you got to keep it real as an actor while still delivering the punchline.
Hey, Larry! Did you hear that? We're not getting married. You happy now, you son of a...
Excuse me, young lady. Don't call him a son of a... This is not a son of a... This man happened to do a wonderful thing today.
So what's your question?
So is there a difference in the way you prepare for a sitcom or a TV drama?
Now we're getting good.
If there's a settlement, I'm going to lose my job, right? I'm the one that hit the guy. I thought maybe you could tell me where you're at with the investigation.
Don't give out that kind of information.
That clip from Without a Trace, they put me on a table, they put a camera right up your nose, and they come right in. There's nothing that you learned in theater to prepare you for how to act in a scene like that, except your professionalism.
Tell us what happened.
I got my second moving violation in a month. This punk super, he's looking to put me on probation, all right? And I was 6 months short of my 20.
You got to learn it is show business. Resume, phone calls, follow-ups, how you walk in the room. But this is important. When you walk into those auditions, they're sizing you up the first 5 seconds you've walked in. Get shined up. I know everybody thinks it's great to look, you know, the T-shirt and chain. Shine it up, surprise them. Walk in looking like something. So always be clear of who you are, what you want, believe in yourself, say your prayers, and God willing, it might all work out. Thank you.
Barry Mitchell, Study with the Best.
First of all, good morning. Thanks for coming to Mindfulness for Educators. In the world of academia, and especially teaching, we have countless distractions in the classroom, right? Or even in just our daily life. And so it's easy to fill up every space of our being with outward concerns. And I've found mindfulness very useful in my classes. It's not really about sitting on these fancy cushions here. It's about our attitude, about ourselves, our lives, what we say, how it impacts on our students or the people around us. And so how do we get that awareness? It's by quieting the mind a little bit. I'm Rikki Asher. I teach art education and I teach art workshops in different communities. I've been studying Buddhist meditation for about 35 years now and doing mindfulness in schools for about 3 years now. I studied art and went to music and art high school, took the subway every day from Bronx to Manhattan, and passed a building that looked like an old abandoned Chinese restaurant for many years. After I graduated from high school, I kept going into the city and studying art and studied actually at Lehman College, got my MFA there. And one day decided to ring the bell of this Chinese building. And I rang the bell and I said, "What is this?" to the man who answered the door. And he said, "This is the Temple of Great Enlightenment. It's the Buddhist Association of the United States. Would you like to come in?" So who'd have thought that from there I would be co-leading retreats and teaching meditation. So Dharma Drum Mountain Retreat Center is a place where people can come and be instead of do or should be or should do, but to experience meditation, yoga, community activities. Breath, of course, is very important. Breathing is essential to our lives, and so the suitability of a method of breathing is very wonderful because it's always accessible to us. Our way of using our minds, let's say, is constantly thinking about the past. We're always worried about the past. And worrying about the past takes us away from being right here, right now, breathing this breath, aware of it. Our minds also go to the future. We're freaking out about how to do something correctly or what somebody expects me to do, or I'm not going to have enough money for this project, or whatever it is. So again, we're not present, we're not here. Our minds are taking us away from this moment here. I feel really humble when I come here and teach a class. It's giving back something because I've gotten so much from the teachings. There are 124 acres here in Dharma Drum Retreat Center, and it's all natural woodscape and landscape and meadow. Imagine the root of your hair, the follicle, the hair follicle, and that root is relaxing all the way down to the tip of the strand of hair that comes out of the head. It's relaxed. And every single hair on your head is now following that one hair strand and is relaxing. And once it's relaxed, then the whole scalp can relax. The eyes can relax in their sockets. The jaw can relax. I used to teach high school in the South Bronx, in a school that was for students who were at risk of dropping out or had just come out of prison or were on their way to prison or on parole. And so society had told them that they were really failures. And yet this school was their last chance to get a diploma. And the art class was always a haven. And I asked them if it was okay to invite a Buddhist monk to our class one day to talk about mindfulness. And they said, sure, what's a monk? We spent time asking him a lot of questions, and then spent time taking him very seriously when he presented them with a very simple technique of counting their breath. Now, not all the students were interested in it, they just went to sleep, but those who were said that they taught their parents how to do it, and that it helped their parents who were struggling. And then I started to think, well, okay, how can I keep this in the genre of art? And I believe I found a way, I'm still finding the way, to do it in a very subtle way. I call it the heart of seeing, mindful drawing. We're going to try our best to draw minus our own judgment. If you feel your body starting to get tense, just stop for a moment and breathe, and then pick up the pencil again. And there's a whole movement now in mindfulness and education all over the world. People are working with young people who are in prison. People are working with people in hospitals. So it's pervasive. So CUNY's slowly, I think, opening up to this. And we meet once a month with faculty. And we actually practice mindfulness and thinking about how could this be useful in our own classrooms.
If I can slow down and be that model for
Yes.
them and practice listening and be in the moment with them, that's another lesson that's coming out besides the nuts and bolts of what I'm teaching.
It's a very difficult time right now. This is a pretty crazy millennium where there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of economic turmoil, there's a lot of violence, and so people are asking questions like, do we have to live this way? And how can we live with a little less stress in our lives? So I think basically people are looking for answers, and they're finding it through Buddhism, and that's a good thing. I like this part because you can see the water and you can see the frozenness. Underneath it, there's that flow. It's not permanent.
Thanks for watching Study with the Best. For all things CUNY, log on to our website at cuny.edu, or you can Facebook and tweet us at CUNY TV. See you next time. Bye.
So, you know, despite its reputation, Archie is one of the more interesting comics. In the last 5 years, they've done a lot of groundbreaking things. One of the things they did is they introduced a character called Kevin Keller. He is the first gay character in the Archie universe, and there actually is, in this issue, is Kevin's wedding. He marries a gay Iraq War veteran who is also an amputee. In comics, there isn't so much of this kind of thing, so they're out ahead of their industry. People don't think about Archie as necessarily being political or current. It's supposed to, you know, exist in this timeless space, but actually, in a lot of ways, Archie's sort of the most forward-looking, you know, most cutting-edge story, sort of, you know, floating around there, because they're sort of engaging in these issues in a safe way that's appropriate for their audience, but definitely much more interesting than they're given credit for. And that's really what I find interesting about the current iteration of Archie Comics.